What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kackis, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And so, let's get started. Now, as for what happened this week in Destiny 2, it was actually a pretty exciting week. Firstly, the official Witch Queen launch trailer launched and revealed some sweet new information. Guys, did a breakdown on that. It is linked up above. In addition to that, a brand new mission, Exorcism, is now available. You can access it by going to the helm, to the Wayfinder's Compass, beginning a quest line, and it contains an all-new mission, actually, that's, pretty different than the normal Astral Alignment mission, and that leads to a brand new cutscene. Again, if you guys want to check that out, I've done a video breaking down that as well. It is again linked up above. So definitely a pretty cool week for Destiny 2. Now let's move on to that brand new information within the TWAB. And right off the bat, the Mad Lads actually did it. One of the most contentious and memed on, but loved by many activities, Gambit is getting an overhaul within the Witch Queen. Some big changes are coming. So firstly, here's what Bungie believes is important in Gambit. Firstly, you can showcase both your skill at fighting in Destiny and the variety and focus of your arsenal. It should just be as inherently fun and rewarding to shoot aliens in the face in Gambit as it is elsewhere. A good invader should be able to turn the tide of a match, but a good invader should be no more important than any other equally skilled team member. A good invader does not have to mean a PvP god loaded up with the best tracking one-hit kill weaponry. Players defending against invaders should have ample tools to fight invaders without worrying about using up ammunition dealing with tougher enemies. And players should have methods for recovering from a devastating invade. It should be rare that a match is out of your hands as a player, or that an outcome is preordinated early in the match. And lastly, working together with your team to overcome tough enemies, the Primeval, a high-value target, or an invader should feel as gratifying as a hard nightfall. And certainly, Gambit has been flopping on some of those things, especially like, if you get a bad invade right off the start, you've basically lost the match. Or heck, if you're playing solo, it feels like one bad teammate can just ruin the match for you. I mean, the guys who stand next to the heavy brick just to grab it and then invade and then die immediately, yeah, it's hard to recover from that. So what is Bungie actually doing? So firstly, the changes are falling into 5 categories: core activity, ammo economy, primeval tuning, invasions, and rewards. So as for the core activity changes, guys, as you can see from this new screenshot from within the Witch Queen, Freelance Gambit is being added. That's right, if you're playing Gambit solo, you're no longer going to match a full stack of the Gambito crime family, you're actually going to match other solo players, and that is absolutely fantastic for grinding, just getting your pinnacles done when you don't have a full team. Now, in addition to that, guys, there's going to be a rotating seasonal selection of curated encounters starting in Season 16, the upcoming season. So they say in Classic Gambit/Prime, you got a randomly selected encounter from a list of 3 for each enemy race on each map. In Beyond Light, due to production issues, we were only able to bring 1 of the 3 variations forward into the new activity. Those issues have been fixed, and we are now bringing the missing variations forward. So playing with the single variation for a race/map for a year led us to an interesting observation. It's fun. You know that Hive on Pacifica means, oh goodness, those Shriekers, and you learn the spawns and master it over time. Maybe it's not interesting for an entire year, but we think it's going to be interesting to have a set rotation for spawns for a season, and over those 3 months you can really master those encounters. So no more Shriekers on Pacifica. So that's kind of cool. You're going to get one race with one map for the season, and then it's going to be a new season, and that's going to change things up to keep things feeling fresh. In addition, respawn points have been added to all fronts, sections of maps where enemies could cycle in or out. So it can be frustrating to always have to run all the way from the backfield after spawning before you are able to help a teammate fight an invader, collect drop motes, etc. And it can also be very frustrating as an invader to always spawn in the same location on the same map multiple times in a row, or to have the invader camp the entrance to avoid confrontation. So more respawn points spread throughout the fronts is going to help with just a ton of those issues. Also, players will always drop half of the motes they are carrying when defeated. So these can be picked up by anyone, including invaders. So invaders can also drop more motes now, and this makes recovering from a ruthless invader or bad luck fighting enemies a little easier. Guys, this is a huge change. Like, how many times did you have a blueberry teammate who's obsessed from going from 14 to 15 and then just ruin the game for you, caused them to invade first, all of that stuff? Now, if that blueberry dies with 15 motes, which they always do, you can actually recover, 7 to 8 of those and actually get a little bit more back into the fight, which is pretty sweet. In addition, players can be revived by other players 2 seconds earlier, and auto respawn is delayed by 2 seconds. So we want to emphasize and reward teamwork as much as possible, so bringing a teammate back is now easier. This change should also reduce the frustrating moments of a teammate being forced to respawn as they're halfway through the revive interact. When your teammate dies, you can run and grab their motes, stop for a second, and then revive them. Awesome change. Also, all shields have increasing resistance to non-matching damage types. So while not as severe as match game resistance in Nightfalls, we wanted a way to promote build crafting and teamwork. So now you can't just use the same Gambit loadout for every single map. You're gonna have to switch it up depending on what shields you're facing. In addition, rules of Gambit node added to the launch screen, and numerous Gambit specific hints have been added to the load screen. So Gambit obviously can be a little bit, frustrating and opaque to newcomers, so this will help. So when it comes to blockers, draining, and the bank, here are the changes made. The 10 mote phalanx blocker has its health boosted a bit, so while they are a good positional challenge with their shield and knockback, we felt that they weren't quite tough enough, so that change has been made. For the 15 mote night blocker, it gains a stasis attack. So Bungie was originally going to add more health, but this is another way to just make them harder and more frustrating to deal with and give players a reward for actually going out and getting those 15 motes. Also, mote drain from multiple blockers continues even if the opposing team is in a Primeval phase. So this will help the team that is behind get the Primeval a little bit quicker. It's never felt great to send over 4 blockers only to have the enemy team ignore them, all while still being severely behind. This also gives the team in the lead a bit more of an incentive to kill blockers during the Primeval phase. And lastly, Mote Drain is paused if a player is near the bank and engaging blockers. And I think this is a great change. It always sucks being the one guy trying to deal with the blockers where the rest of your team are oblivious and you're getting drained as you're desperately trying to kill 3 knights, so that is actually pretty awesome. Next up, ammo economy. So firstly, when completing a front, a chest containing a small amount of special and heavy ammo spawns in the middle of the front and can be looted once by each player. So it says it times out in 20 seconds after the initial interact, so you can't dilly-dally. That's giving away heavy. That's crazy. Also, killing a high value target spawns 1 normal heavy brick for each player. So during the Primeval phase, an ammo chest spawn in one of the fronts every 60 seconds also, and this replaces the regular front ammo chest, but you still need to find them in time and grab it. And also, limited special and heavy ammo bricks can only spawn from enemies if you have the Finder mods equipped, and then other exotics and perks like the Aeon Cult still work. This is actually a crazy change. So obviously the big problem is, like, if you're a team using Aeons and the other team isn't, you have infinite heavy ammo and they don't. Bungie's solution apparently is just give everyone heavy. Like, complete the one front, which is, the area where all the enemies are spawning, actually get guaranteed heavy ammo from that. So now everyone's just going to have heavy ammo. So yeah, the invader's going to have it, but the defenders are also going to have it. We'll see how this plays out. To me, that seems like a lot of Galahorns, but again, we're going to have to see. Next up, we have the Primeval fight. So firstly, Primeval health and Slayer stack bonuses have returned, so burning the boss after 3 rounds of envoys should be just as easy as it is now, but burning him after just 1 or 2 rounds should be significantly more work. Also, envoys now spawn with friends out in the fronts rather than in the bank area, so you actually have to go out, seek them, find them, and kill them to get those stacks. and deal with their elemental shields, which remember are more resilient now. Also, envoys put an invulnerability shield on the Primeval, so makes the Primeval completely immune to damage, and so you're gonna have to really kill those envoys before you even can do any damage to the Primeval. Also, envoys spawn at 30% of Primeval damage done, and this increases by 10% every envoy respawn, and envoys stop spawning after the 5th spawn. Also, the Primeval Servitor boss is removed from the game since its custom shielding mechanics conflicted with these new mechanics. The Malfeasance quest starts on the first Primeval kill. Man, the Meatball boss was an infamous part of Gambit, but I'm not gonna lie, he was unbelievably annoying. Alright, moving on from there, invasions. So, level advantage is now disabled for Invader PvP. It has actually been like this since the start of Beyond Light. Surprise! Another change, one of the Mote's phase invasions have been removed, so invasions now trigger at 40 and 80 Mote thresholds. Primeval phase invasions are unchanged. Also, invasions can no longer be saved up. You have to invade or you're gonna lose it. Also, invaders can no longer see how many motes enemy players are carrying, and player nameplates fade out when invaders are aiming down their sight. So you can still see through walls, just not while you're engaging your rocket tracking or using your sniper zoom. Wow, so that's gonna nerf, snipers definitely, linear fusions, all of that stuff. And not being able to see how many motes is crazy, because you would just get laser focused on the guy with 15. Now your team could potentially, one guy, the guy with the least motes, can go and try to engage the invader, distract him for a bit. This actually really changes how invasions are going to be. And also, we found a bug with how the Primeval heal effect was being applied, which, depending on the sequence and timing of kills, would heal the Primeval for somewhere between 5 and 35%. We fixed it, and now invader kills heal the Primeval for exactly 27% every time. This sounds like a lot, but this is actually less than the optimal amount prior, and we'll be watching feedback and analysis to see if this, is good. Also, as for rewards, guys, here is a picture of what the Drifter is going to look like in the Witch Queen, and as you can see, you have focused decoding exactly like Trials. So you're actually going to get Gambit engrams, and then you can focus those into Gambit Armor or Gambit Weapons for 10,000 Glimmer and 50 Legendary Shards. So the Gambit Weapons include the Crowd Pleaser, Bottom Dollar, Trinary System, Borrow Time, and the Servant Leader. And I still haven't gotten a good Servant Leader, so I'm happy to hear this. Also, brand new Gambit weapons are drop only for a single season, and then they're being added to the focusing. So there's going to be likely one or two new Gambit weapons added next season, and then those are going to be added to the focusing. So if you didn't get a good one randomly, you can then focus it the season after. Some other Gambit changes, so Bygones, Trust, and Bad Omens have been removed from the vendor. So end of match drops, there is a Gambit Memento for weapon crafting that can only drop after any match, and other Gambit shaders now have a small chance of dropping at the end of the match, and the Primeval Servitor Cosmetic can now only drop at the end of any match. But there's even more with the Future and Gambit Labs. So we see another screenshot here of what this vendor is going to look like, with the brand new Ritual Weapon as a potential reward as well. So the daily Gambit bounty objectives are generally fine, but some of the repeatable ones are not so good, so we're taking a pass from these, and they won't come all at once. Then sometime this season, we will be adjusting the completion amounts of most Gambit repeatable bounties, and in Season 17, we'll be making additional tuning changes as well as 3 new bounties being added. Then there's also some Gambit Labs, and these Gambit Labs are going to run for 1 week, and each will take over the base Gambit nodes. So for Invasion Swap, this lab variation plays around with who gets to benefit from triggered invasions. So during Mote phases, instead of opening your own invasion portal at 40 and 80 motes, you open the enemy team's invasion portal instead. So that's actually going to be pretty wild. Then there's also Mote Thief. So they said fundamentally the original concept of the invader was a guardian as a taken terror, overpowered and dangerous, something new to have to fight. So normal Mote drain from having 2 blockers is going to be disabled, and instead, every second the invader is invading, 1 Mote drains directly from your bank to the invader's bank. So now it's more about the invader staying alive for as long as possible and then you hunting the invader rather than the invader being super aggressive. That's kind of a cool take as well. Moving on from there, guys, Bungie does say that although Season 16 is focused kind of on Gambit and refreshing that activity, for Season 17, they have some really cool trials changes planned. Especially, they say, we also have some Adept reward changes coming for Season 17, and we'll preview those later in the season. Moving on from there, guys, we have a final patch note preview before the Witch Queen. So, firstly, we have Ritual rewards. So starting with the Witch Queen, Ritual playlist rewards will be updated to grant ritual specific gear, so weapons, mods, and armor, and can no longer be granting rewards from the general world pool. And there's some more changes after that, pause to read, and Bungie shows a preview of some of the different armor sets, ritual armor sets coming in Season 16, so you can see the Warlock with the Vanguard set, the Hunter with the Crucible set, and the Titan with the Gambit set. Next, there's two returning Crucible maps. Eternity and Vostok are going to be back with the launch of the Witch Queen, so a little bit more map variety in PvP is always good. And then Eververse, they say no changes. And they're like, wait, seriously? Yep, there's no systematic changes to Eververse at all. Everything's going to work exactly like it has worked, but of course there's going to be a bunch of brand new stuff available for purchase, either via Silver or Bright Dust in Eververse. In fact, Bungie shows off this absolutely sick new Universal Armor ornament sets available in Eververse starting February 22nd. Those look super, super dope. Now, there's also a lot of Seasons Pass changes. One of the biggest ones is high stat seasonal armor has been reintroduced with the Witch Queen, and individual pieces are rewarded between ranks 57 and 87. Legendary engrams have been replaced with focused umbral engrams. So there's 5 in total, each focused to a different armor piece, so arms, legs, chest, etc., etc. And all umbral engrams are tier 2. In addition, the Seasons Pass emblem has been removed, but we have introduced a Seasons Pass Sparrow. The Seasons Pass Scrounger bonuses, which would give you increased seasonal weapon and armor drop chances, have been overhauled. So now they're no longer separated by weapon type or ritual activity. They now apply to both Seasons Pass legendary weapons and all activities at once. So 2 weapon Scrounger bonuses instead of 6, and then the first bonus grants the player a small chance to receive the weapons from ritual activities. The second bonus gives an improved chance. And kind of the same thing with the armor Scrounger bonuses as well. And then aside from the emblem, no items have been removed from the Seasons Pass, only added. And lastly, the order of some of the rewards that are required have been tuned to accommodate the above changes. And big news for AFK farmers, the Thrallway is getting nerfed. They fixed an issue where the Shadow Thrall were granting experience, glimmer, all that stuff. So now you're going to actually have to play the game instead of just AFK macro farm in the Thrallway. Also for boss stomps, they adjusted the knockback for boss stomps, and this should result in fewer deaths from being knocked into objects. So that's actually really good because when you're using a sword, especially the brand new glaives, any sort of melee weapon, every boss stomps, even bosses with like no legs, like servitors will stomp you. So being thrown into a wall every time is definitely going to limit those type of weapons being used. And so guys, that is it for all of the major points of information revealed in this TWAB. And this is the last one, of course, until the launch of the Witch Queen. Absolutely hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss all of the massive new videos that are going to be coming out when the Witch Queen launches, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at @RickKackis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.